Are you ready to summarize a week with all these all-time highs? Let's start. S&P 500, an all-time high this week. And of course, this is the 24th all-time high. As you can see, we're almost 12% from year to date, which means that our money grew by 12%, of course. When we look at other major averages, you can see the NASDAQ up 1.86 for the week, the S&P 1.59, and even the Russell up 0.24 for the week. You can see gold hitting an all-time high. You can see silver hitting an all-time high. Crude oil up 0.69 and natural gas down 3% for the week. And the Magnificent Seven, which became the Great, which became, I don't know how you count 9 companies. Well, Oracle is very close to becoming a $1 trillion company after a phenomenal week, which we're going to cover in a second. 25% gain for the week. Tesla up 12.8%. Broadcom up 7.4% on the back of Oracle. And on the flip side, we have Amazon down 1.8% for the week. And Apple, after their event, investors didn't really like it, down 2.3%. Ethereum and Bitcoin, crypto market up. Ethereum up almost 8% and Bitcoin up 3.3% for the last 5 days. Yet, the American Association of Individual Investors, the AAII, are still bearish. 49.5% still bearish for the week. This is becoming a crazy phenomenon where the market's hitting all-time high, while the AAII are still bearish. So before we start talking about the different stocks, hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name is Micha, and on this channel, we're basically summarizing the week every week. And as of this week or last week, we started something new. This is what we started, live streams. So now, every Wednesday, 3:44 p.m. Eastern, mark your calendars. We're going to do a midweek stock market live where we're going to analyze stocks. We're going to talk about the news. We're going to talk about everything. So from now on, and of course, nothing is financial advice, but from now on, you're going to have 2 slots during the week, the end of the week, which is the weekly summary, and middle of the week to understand where we are from the beginning of the week. And the middle week, the Wednesday one, is going to be live streamed. So I would love to see you both on the channel. You can, of course, subscribe to the channel and on the live streams. Now, we had CPI this week. CPI, Consumer Price Index, came in higher than expected, 0.4. Yet the market still hit all-time highs. Why? Because the core CPI, the one that takes away food and energy, came with no change. And the market found that good enough because if the labor market is cooling, yet inflation is not going up, then the Fed will have to lower rates, and we're going to talk about that toward the end of the video. Look at this chart. This is Oracle's remaining performance obligation. They call it RPOs. Up to now, you can see we had a trend, a regular trend. Then suddenly, Oracle signs 3 or 4 mega contracts. These mega contracts put their RPOs to $455 billion. These numbers are in $1 billion that they need to provide other companies. This is crazy, the amount of AI spent. Is it a bubble? If it's not a bubble, it doesn't really matter because Oracle shareholders see their stock gaining and being an all-time high. And after this, after their earnings, which came in this week, they also updated us that OpenAI and them signed a $300 billion cloud computing deal. The money that is being printed on AI is crazy, 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 crazy. And 8Co, a new company that we haven't heard up until Monday, took Dan Ives, which we know already from Wedbush, and made him their chair. You probably heard that from Tom Lee, who became the chair of BMNR. And 8Co said that they're going to do something very, very special. They're going to take your retina, your eye, and they're going to scan it, and then they're going to lock it in a blockchain through the orb. Now, if this is complicated, I understand why, because you're probably saying, but I have an iPhone. What's the difference? I don't really know what's the difference, but it doesn't really matter. Maybe because you change iPhones. That's the reason. So here it's going to be locked in the blockchain. You're going to get Sam Altman true. As Sam Altman made crypto coin, which is called WorldCoin. And all of this together, you probably were confused. Excellent. Well, so did the market. So a company of $4 million gained by 5,256% on the day. And a lot of money was poured in for this interesting project. I have no idea if it's going to work or not, but it was a crazy ride to see the stock. From there, it, of course, gave back almost 50% of the gain, but who's counting? Another company that is going bananas is Opendoor. Opendoor, as you know, Eric Jackson, a hedge fund guy, decided about a month ago that he thinks, or at least a month ago, he thinks Opendoor should change everything, change their CEO, change their board, change their product, change everything. And he started a campaign where he goes to every TV slot, every channel possible to say Opendoor needs a change. And a few weeks ago, CEO left. This week, they nominated a new CEO, 2 new board members, which were their founders, and the stock went up close to 78% for the week. Now, they took a lot of cues from Elon Musk. So the head of the board went on CNBC on Friday, said, I think we should cut 85% of the headcount. The new CEO says, I don't take any money. I'm going to take $1 a year, but if we meet our financial targets, if the stock goes up, I want to be a billionaire. Write me in the comments if you're interested in the same kind of compensation that says you're not going to get paid, but if we meet specific company goals, you're going to be a billionaire. Think about it. Tesla, phenomenal week this week, and the reason for that is they're getting more and more license agreements from different states. Now they're going into Nevada, and rumors are that they're going to have a stellar Q3 deliveries, and autonomous is progressing. Big Bear AI, the ticker is BBAI, revolutionizes the Nashville airport by biometric technology, and it seems like they're shortening the lines through their technology. Their stock is very volatile. It's very retail-oriented, and that's why it's here, of course. That's why we're talking about it. Paramount Skydance, which was a spin-off of Paramount, PSKY is the ticker, is preparing to present a bid to Warner Brothers Discovery, ticker WBD, and that is why WBD went up for double digits this week. And actually also Paramount went up, which is strange because they're the one that's going to fund the deal, but they're going to create, if it's going to go down, and of course there's regulators and all that, they're going to create a very big competitor to Netflix. Everyone wants to compete with Netflix. No one even is trying to compete with YouTube, by the way. Trump is trying to force Big Pharma to lower drug prices within weeks. 17 different drug makers got the note saying, you got to reduce prices. We want America to be the cheapest place to buy drugs and not other nations. IonQ gets a UK regulator's approval. That pushed all the quantum computing stocks, whether it's IonQ, RGTI, QUBT, Friday up in double digits. Lyft is piloting autonomous rides at Atlanta. They want to be in the game as well. Wegovy maker Novo Nordisk is going to cut 9,000 jobs. They have 78,000 in headcount. They're going to cut 9,000, 11.5% of the company global workforce. And the reason for that is because they're seeing a slowness of sales. Hood had a summit this week, and they presented all their new capabilities from Hood Social to shorting to options during market close and more features. And I think the team there is showing that their speed and delivery is very, very fast. And basically, they're leading right now from that perspective. ASML becomes top shareholders of Mistral AI. Mistral AI, a French AI company, I think one of the biggest, if not the biggest AI company in Europe. And they're investing $1.3 billion and only taking an 11% stake in the company. NVIDIA is probably getting an approval. We're not 100% sure, but let's assume that is correct. They're getting an approval for the H20 chip licenses to China. That is, of course, very good news for NVIDIA, and that's why it ended the week green, because, as you remember, NVIDIA on their earnings did not present anything coming from China. And last but not least, Nebius started the week with an amazing news saying that they signed with Microsoft a deal that during the next few years, Microsoft would acquire additional services and capacity from them in a deal that is starting at $17.2 billion and will or might grow to 19.4. Crazy week. And people are still bearish. So What do we have planned for next week, you ask? Very good question. FOMC. Tuesday, Wednesday, Fed officials are going to meet and decide what they're going to do with the rates. Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, we're going to hear from Powell. 2:30 is the press conference. And I remind you that 3:44 on Wednesday, we're going to have a live stream. So don't forget to turn notifications on the channel. And earnings, not something special. We have Dave & Buster on Monday, Cracker Barrel on Wednesday, and FedEx, which might be interesting, on Thursday. And the reason why it's interesting is because they got a downgrade this week from Bank of America, both them and UPS, because Bank of America sees slowing orders from the consumer. Let's look at the S&P 500 represented with Japanese candlesticks. As you can see, we're in an upward trend, whether we put a Japanese candlesticks or a line chart. Upward trend means bottom left, top right, we're going up. And if we're staying above the light blue line, as you can see here, it means that we're in an upward trend and there's nothing to be worried about. Once we fall underneath the light blue line, which might be around 64.77, then we should start worrying, because that means that this line has been violated. But till then, we can keep grinding up, and we met 6,600 on Friday, which was the high 6,600. Then, of course, we saw a bit of a correction. So, if you enjoyed everything, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to write here your comments. And we will meet Wednesday, 3:44 p.m. for our midweek live stream. Till next time, Micha Stocks saying bye-bye.